Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Clone Wars Season 7 spoilers review, or just review the entire season. I am the Crimson Trasnell.
Ooh, I'm the Mandalorian, Taylor Field.
There you go. That's the easy one. So, ladies and gentlemen, we only got 5 episodes left of this, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. No, we got 4
We
now.
should have 4.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, only
4.
4 more weeks. That's crazy. The journey's almost over. And then do you think when the show ends, are we gonna get an announcement right away of what the new animated series is, or are we gonna wait? Because clearly we don't know with this COVID stuff. Again, that's why we're recording. If Star Wars Celebration happens in August, I'm gonna take a bet and say it doesn't happen. I don't think, just because I don't know, just they might not want to risk it. So if there is no Star Wars Celebration, when I know we talked about what we could want the show to be, when do you think we'll hear about it actually?
Oh, I think we'll probably hear about it. Uh, I don't know, probably around summertime. I think they could do like a soft announcement, like digitally or something like
Mm.
that.
So yeah, you don't think like right after the show ends, 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, and then boom, we're coming back with this.
No, I don't think so.
No, damn. I just want to know. I just really want to know. And hey, maybe that's what we'll get some clues to in this episode, which we'll talk about. Because this episode had a lot of seed planting or a lot of growing of previous seeds. I'll give you the non-spoiler synopsis, and then Taylor will tell you what he thought. I'll tell you what I thought, and then we'll give you the spoilers countdown. So today's episode is season 6, episode 8. Ahsoka bargains for the sisters' freedom and makes a startling discovery. See, that one's easy for me not to screw up because it's only like 6 words or something. So no planets, no weird alien names or whatnot. But what did you think, Taylor, of Together Again? Non spoilers.
Um, yeah, for me personally, this was an episode that I quite enjoyed actually. I think it was definitely a pick me up from last episode last week, and yeah, it just to me it felt more fun, more cohesive, and I really liked more of the little nods they put in there. Again, there was like more of that, like, not really a spoiler, but some of the score and just some of the moments felt like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this I'm getting like classic Star Wars coming in here, which is pretty nice. And I liked how the development kind of went for the characters like Rafa and the other sister, and they reached a point where like, okay, I can get on board with how they're developing and their actions, and I'm starting to like them. So I'm glad that they've turned these characters around from how badly, in my opinion, they at least dealt the one sister in
Yeah.
that, like, I think the second episode. So
Yeah, we talked about
yeah.
that. Yeah, go back and listen to that. Yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I don't think it's a pure perfect episode when we get into ratings as far as a thumbs up, but it's close. I don't know if I'll give a little spoiler. I don't know if I've ever given like a thumb and a 75% cocked angle, but I think that's the one here. Just because my only concern was the same thing as last week, that it was going to be another escape episode, which it was. I think we learned a lot and there's some good set pieces in it, so it did make it better, but it was just another same thing of like, it makes me feel when we only got the 12 episodes last week, maybe couldn't have happened, or we could have got some different development other than, which they do talk more about, like Ahsoka's past being the Jedi and how it relates to sisters. They set that up last week, but I think there's still a way you could either just make this episode longer or focus on something else. It's just, again, because I know it's the last season. I'm very interested to talk about spoilers because I feel for like a final season. I feel like they're setting up a lot of breadcrumbs, and we'll wait until spoilers to talk about that. But I just don't know if that is without spoil. I don't know where to. No, I'll wait to spoilers because I have some specific question to ask you. But yeah, I really liked everything. Ahsoka, since I'd say like season 3 or 4, whenever she kind of really clicked, she's always a great lead. But I've liked her being here. I think there's a good kind of, I won't say resolution, but at least a good not even endpoint, just a good furthering of her and the sister's relationship. I think it goes in a way that I don't know how much more we're gonna see of it, but I really, really enjoyed where we got to, and it didn't get to something that I was kind of cringing to happen, of just something that's kind of a real big trope. So I liked the way it went. I liked all the protagonists and or the antagonists in this episode. As far as the Pike, they were just kind of good fodder, and they had a good motivation, which we'll talk about in spoilers. But yeah, I think it was a very, very solid episode. I don't know if it was, like I said, a perfect episode, just because I again felt that, it was another, we're gonna have to get out of prison episode, which it was. I liked some ways that Ahsoka went about it. What kind of went about it in a non-Jedi sort of way, or maybe some trickery, which, hey, look at her master maybe that is the right way. So I did really, really enjoy this episode, and I think it set me up for being excited for the rest of the episodes, but also just what could be further down the line. So do you have anything else to mention before we get into spoilers?
No, not really. Aside from just yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of setup I feel like in this, and I feel like almost you could say that these I know like the Bad Batch was a part of the original, some of those original season 7 episodes from like years and years ago. But
Yeah.
I feel like these later, obviously, episodes that we have now have been like freshly created for this season, especially because we have that one Mandalorian character who is the armor from the Mandalorian
Is
series,
that
and
confirmed?
um, I haven't actually looked into it more. I'm pretty sure it is confirmed though. Um, but I have not looked into it further since because I mean this isn't much of a spoiler, but she does not actually. I don't think she has any lines in this this episode,
Yeah.
and I feel like they did it that way intentionally, just as like a very subtle Easter egg. But it's everything we're seeing here, like. And again, this isn't a spoiler. It's just kind of like, but actually, I'll say it in spoilers just so people at least have the spoiler warning.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are, 3, 2, 1. We're getting into spoilers together again. Ahsoka manages to make a deal with the Pikes, which allows the Martez sisters to temporarily leave Obadiah. It literally looks like Obadiah. Yeah, Obadiah said, Tony, leave Obadiah to retrieve the spice while she is held hostage. Ahsoka escapes the prison and places explosives all over Pike facility, which she overhears the Pikes talking to Darth Maul, who is on Mandalore. Meanwhile, the Martez sisters steal spice from the Pikes and bring it back to the Obadiah, where they learn Ahsoka was a Jedi. They escape Obadiah by blowing up the Pike facility and are followed back to Coruscant. By the three Mandalorians who previously were part of Death Watch. One of them, Bo-Katan, manages to convince Ahsoka they have a common enemy in Maul. Ahsoka decides to leave for Mandalore after reconciling with the sisters. So, where do you want to start? Because I got many places I want to start this, but where do you want to go to first?
Um, Well, I guess just kind of touching on the thing I was gonna say when we went into spoilers. I just think that this episode is further fueling the setup of just the movie Solo, which gets me excited. How just we get to see how the Pikes have kind of drifted apart and they have that rocky relationship with Crimson Dawn, which I really like. That I like seeing this whole dynamic between these gangs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that whole part where like I didn't think we would see Maul in this episode. I felt like we wouldn't get that far yet. But when he had that subtle like conversation when he's like, he knows, he always knows, and then we got to see the hologram of Maul or whatever, and that scene I loved so much when Maul like his eyes kind of glaze to the side a bit, and Ahsoka hides, and Maul like turns and looks outward. Like it's just I really really liked the tension of that moment.
I liked it. I just
I
have some logistics of how far can you see when you're in a hologram?
I don't know. I think Maul's got like the most current like tech or whatever, like iPhone X tier.
Yeah, I
So
guess I was just like caught off guard because I always thought with like the hologram you could see in the general, like maybe I don't know, 5 feet around you. I didn't think you could like fully see down a corridor past these rails. It was like I liked it, like you said, the tension of it. But in the moment, I was taken out of it of just, can he just see this entire building? Like, what exactly can he see? And I still
he
don't know.
probably didn't even have the hologram actually like directed onto the pike because he didn't care. He just had it like past him, aimed down the hallway.
Wow. So my question is, you talk about that setting up Solo, which is like a good point because obviously it's revealed spoilers, Darth Maul's kind of behind everything in Solo and he's part of Crimson Dawn, or he's leading it. But my thing is, so like you could say it's setting up Solo, but to me it's not the same way. What's throwing me off is this is doing, the past few episodes have done a bit more of this kind of connected universe, right? Almost, which it should be. It's Star Wars, but a lot more as far as we talk about kind of MCU style stuff. But the reason it's bigger is because the previous seasons to me just kind of did that for Revenge of the Sith. It was just like, oh, this is what's coming in Sith. This is what's coming in Sith. So it's like, okay, this makes sense. It's just a full on prequel. Now you can make the case like you're saying that, oh, it's a prequel and it's setting up stuff for Solo, which they still could just say, oh, that's what it is. But at the same point, Solo is it has a lot of questions still left open, and there's still a lot. And also, we're not getting a sequel, right? And we've heard rumors of a Crimson Dawn series, we've heard rumors of a Lando series, and now we're hearing rumors of a Ahsoka series. I'm wondering, so you got the Mandalorian stuff, that's fine. That kind of sets up maybe some characters in Mandalorian. But is this setting up a potential another animated series with Ahsoka as the lead, or is this what Ahsoka's live action show could be about? Because I know Rosario Dawson, she's playing her, and Rosario might be playing an older Ahsoka, but at the same point, just I feel like they're doing too much just to set up to be like, go see Solo. Because to me, Revenge of the Sith, whatever you think about the prequels, massive movie, huge success. Lots of people love that movie, and it's the third in the franchise, right? Or technically it's a sixth, but it's a part of that main saga, big story. Because so to me, it's like, oh, this whole show sets up a big saga episode movie, so that makes sense. But for just Solo, I don't know if I buy that it's just for Solo because I
Well,
feel
yeah, that's. I'll have to rephrase what I meant in that sense because when I say like it's setting up Solo, I mean in the sense like that storyline has already been like for the most part done. And when I say setting up, I mean okay, we're getting the backstory on why the Pikes have taken control of Kessel. Why is there tension between the crime syndicates of Crimson Dawn and not Black Sun, but the Pike Syndicate, and
yeah.
why that whole dynamic is going on, and that's what I'm kind of referring to because they're diving into that kind of setup and that like backstory, which to me like I love, but in the overall general direction that this series is going, I firmly believe that it is going directly into not the Ahsoka series. The last episode might give us a hint as to where Ahsoka's going in that sense, but I doubt it because we know that her where she would be going in that sense would be off towards the Rebels direction. I think that this storyline or what happens here is going to form a relationship between Mandalorian characters and Ahsoka that'll be rekindled in the Mandalorian season 2, and that's
Mm.
what's going to be their general direction. And then in the Mandalorian season 2, that's going to break off and give Ahsoka, maybe a couple of Easter eggs showcasing her own season or something else like that. Um, Granted, I mean, for all I know, we could get a nod to another like animated series. I don't know, but
Well,
I just think that this is season is going to set up Mandalorian season 2 in some shape or form.
I agree with you there. I think that's a good catch. I just wonder because it's so much like to bring Maul back, we kind of knew that was going to be a thing, but to now be so to me, Crimson Dawn was a functioning thing in Revenge of the Sith, is what they're implying, right?
Yeah.
Which is great because before, like, okay, he took over Mandalore. He had some bounty hunters. He had some Mandalore with him. He had some like whatever space pirates. So it was like, okay, Maul's building a little empire. But Solo is what? It's supposed to be 5 years before New Hope, or what is it?
Let me
Yeah,
check
just because. So
actually.
for me, it made it sound like okay. So Maul, because we always know that there was this time where we don't know what happened to Maul, right? The Emperor got him, and then we found him with. I haven't got this part to Rebels yet, but he meets up with Ezra, and then he has the Obi-Wan stuff, and there's like this stuff of like what's going on, and then Solo creaked that door to be like, oh well, he was running this criminal organization, and he was like, okay, this doesn't make sense as far as because I wasn't watching this stuff, but it makes sense as far as like okay, they're filling in. This is what he was doing. He was busy, but it's like now he was really busy because if this is before like this is right on the heels of Revenge of the Sith, and he's creating a enemy or like a criminal dynasty, which is strange because I before we get to that, I still have a problem with that they don't seem like they're. I don't know. I would expect in this show, I want an answer about what happened with him and Palpatine. Do you think we're gonna get that in these next 4 episodes?
Well, from what I mean, I would think that they're gonna do some sort of revealing as to why, because I mean, I know that it's his it was his Mandalorian commandos, I believe, that sprung him out of prison because he was being held captive by Sidious.
How do you
But
know
to
that?
answer
Where
your
is that
question,
in canon?
I can't remember where I got that from, but it's from some source that I'll try to pull up. But on top of that, Solo is 11 to 14 years before A New Hope.
Okay, so 11, 14 years, and then so what? And then Revenge of the Sith and New Hope's 30 years, right? Or is it 20 years or something?
Years,
It's
so that's still pretty close.
it's 20 years, you said?
It's 20 years, so that would make it could be 6 to 9 years. Um,
That he was all like
that
he was active in this organization, right?
Yeah, so from Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars to when Solo happens, it's anywhere between 6 to 9 years. So that's pretty close because it's not obviously running during like Rebels and stuff like that. And Rebels is like 2 years before. So
Yeah.
between that there's like a short span of like a few years where something happens and crumbles his operation.
So that's the thing. I agree with you completely that the Ahsoka stuff makes sense. I think you laid out a viable plan of okay, she's gonna go with Mandalorian, she's gonna meet out with him season 2 of Mandalorian, and these rumors of her getting a solo show that makes sense. The only thing now is I just feel we did hear rumors. They are on like the C plus tier, but we did hear rumors about 6 months ago. Remember they were thinking of some sort of Crimson Dawn TV show. We didn't know, they didn't say who the lead would be, but we kind of had an idea that at least Maul would be in it. We've kind of had this idea that maybe it would be another character that would be the lead and Maul would be around, or it's someone trying to stop Crimson Dawn. But I feel the same way as like the same way that they might be doing this Ahsoka setup. I feel like they might be doing this with the Maul Dawn stuff because it is just when he dropped that name, you didn't have to have like Maul was not a part or doing anything with Crimson Dawn anywhere in Clone Wars, right? That happened solo, and now they introduced it. They didn't have to do that. They could have just had Maul as like a smaller criminal doing things, right? But the fact that they labeled the brand and they put Crimson Dawn, and that means, like you said, it's been active for maybe 6 to 8 years somewhere in here or somewhere in there. To me, that is them built. They're building a bridge to something. I feel like honestly, it could just be an Easter egg. So then I get it. That's fine. But I just feel like with the Maul stuff, they do you feel like they could be building towards something, and if so, what?
It's hard to say because I feel like they've been building to so many different things, but then there's been so many like left and right turns. So it's hard for me to really capitalize and like cement my opinion on like if that's possible. I feel like them saying Crimson Dawn though was probably more or less them just saying like, oh yeah, here he's got Crimson Dawn, just like in Solo. I think it's just a subtle kind of nod and connection to that
See,
universe and that
I
world.
don't know if it's subtle though, because like I said, that's them in canon now saying that he was starting this organization for 6 years now. You know, like that's a big.
We knew
We didn't know though. We didn't know. No.
we didn't know that it was called Crimson Dawn earlier in the Clone Wars, but we know for sure that okay, he's definitely running a crime syndicates because of everything that he's built, right? So we just assumed that it was just turned into that because you could call Crimson Dawn what he had on Mandalore back in like season 3 or 4, whatever it was, right?
See, I wouldn't though. I would still say that's just him finding his way. Where Crimson Dawn, that's like the brand, you know. Like before Geek First, we were still talking about this geeky stuff on our Facebook chat, but until we start Geek First, that's when the ball really started getting rolling, right? That's the way I look at it. It's like, sure, he was maybe a criminal, but now he's like a criminal mastermind or trying to be. So I don't know. I just find it funny that we hear Ahsoka rumors of a show, and now there seems these breadcrumbs. And these rumors were from way long ago, but still, these rumors about a Crimson Dawn show were happening, and now all of a sudden, Crimson Dawn's getting mentioned again. I don't know. It seems, and then plus, it was I think like 2 months ago when we had those rumors about Donald Glover appearing again as Lando. So I don't know if he would be in this show as like the lead, but I just find it's kind of like it's similar to the Ahsoka thing. There's too much noise around, there's too much smoke to not think there's a fire. I could be wrong, but there's so much pointing that direction now, and I just also really want it because I'd love to have Maul live action gun in some way or form.
That's just it. I feel like if you go to I know it's just a cool, like, fun Easter egg and cameo to have Maul in Solo, but I feel like to even go that length of like having him live action again, I feel like how can you not use that again in some shape or form? You know, it just I feel like it's like it defeats its own purpose. You know.
Yeah, and I just feel I also when you look at I feel like Disney wants surefire hits, and it's strange because Solo wasn't the biggest hit, and Solo's one of their biggest characters, but I think that's a lot different because we've talked about that before. No Harrison Ford, etc., etc. I think with Maul, especially on Disney Plus, remember years ago when we got early on the podcast that fucking Darth Maul Netflix teaser on April Fool's Day.
Oh
Remember?
yeah.
Yeah, and remember I was so hyped. Everyone was so hyped. And I think Darth Maul is one of those characters that sometimes at the end of the day, folks, it just is about a character that looks cool. Now, character, I think he's not a character that just looks cool. He has lots of defiant things. I think Clone Wars, that's one of the best things about the show. But you think about the mainstream, I just think they still associated Darth Maul as like the devil Sith Jedi who had the double blade lightsaber, which is fine because I just think people, like, he was one of the biggest marketing things leading for Phantom Menace. So the fact that you could throw a teaser of a show called Crimson Dawn, and even if Don Glover's not the lead, let's just say it's some random actor or actress, they're the lead, and then that trailer ends with you see the double lightsaber, you see Darth Maul. I think that gets already Disney Plus. We were talking about this before the cast. 50 million subscribers, way past their goal that they had for the. I think they even like hit their goal that they were trying to get for the year 2 or something. So they're fine. All these people are like, oh, they're going to cancel after Mandalorian. Yeah, some people did, but it seems like it was a quite a small. Like it's not stopping. Especially in these times of quarantine and whatnot. Disney Plus is the way to go. It's thousands of content, especially for families. So I think you're going to get people already established on Disney Plus, and anybody that's on the whatever, if you get Ahsoka and Mandalorian and then a 1-2 punch of you get that. The next few years you get Obi-Wan, and then the next few years you get an announcement of Darth Maul live action TV show. I think same thing as Marvel. Star Wars and Marvel shows are gonna be popping off. And I think it just makes sense. Even if that's the thing, people might like hate this statement, but even from a business standpoint, if someone just said, I don't care what the show is, we just want Darth Maul on a fucking show. And that's how business works sometimes. They look at like spreadsheets and whatnot. They go, okay, we're gonna make that's the reason a Joker solo movie happened, because they're like, well, Joker's a big character, so we can do it. That's the same reason why some other DC characters still you'll never see anything. So I think even if they made a show just to get Maul in there, I think in the next, my prediction is because the COVID stuff that throws it off, but I say the next 5 years we will see Darth Maul live action again on Disney Plus. What do you think about that?
I think there's a high chance within the next 5 years. I'll support that. I also think that unfortunately, and the way Disney and Star Wars is nowadays, I feel like they do a kind of a poor job in some aspects of thinking like, oh, people. Well, let's create some new stories that'll be, kind of cool and maybe people really enjoy and stuff. And they kind of go off when in reality, Star Wars should just be pulled from the rich universe that they have. Granted, like they have done that because obviously we have like the child and we have like this cool Mandalorian character and stuff like
Yeah,
that
that's
and
the
other
start.
Easter eggs. But like it's just at the end of the day, like a lot of people just want to see an intertwined, connected world, and just it's when everyone's saying like, oh, we want, for example, like, oh, we want a Boba Fett movie, we want a Boba Fett movie, we want a Darth Maul movie, we want a Darth Maul movie, and they're like, okay, here we go, we're doing the Cassian Andor series. It's like, who asked for that? And not that I have a problem because I like Rogue One and I like Cassian
Yeah.
and anything Star Wars, I'm there, I'm gonna watch it. But at the end of the day, it's like, who decides to just like let's turn the other cheek and just kind of go along this route of not doing what the fans really really requested and do our own stories on these specific characters? It doesn't make sense to me, and I feel like that's why they've alienated a lot of their fan base. So
Well, I think this is the thing, and this turned to like a mini cantinas, but let's go with it because it's a good convo. I think what they wanted to do initially, whether this Kathleen Kennedy, whether it's Bob Iger, whether it's everybody, I think, especially hear about this with the parks, right? It's like, oh, it's a lot of new Star Wars and Cassian. That's a new character. I think they really want to, which is weird because they own the rights to all those Star Wars characters. So it's not like they don't own Luke and Leia, so they want to create their own characters. Like you own them, but people say there's lots of emphasis on the new. I think maybe they learned, especially Rise of Skywalker, still a hit. That's what I still love. People trash to talk about how it's a big disappointment. Yes, it's the lowest of the new movies, but still $1 billion movie. To make $1 billion, they're happy. They're fine with that. So the thing is, I think that they saw that and they did see there was a little pushback, and I think maybe they saw, and even Iger talked about in his book that he just thought when he got the Star Wars the franchise, he just thought, well, a lot of people didn't like the prequel, so let's just alienate kind of that for now. And I think they did alienate a lot of people. Obviously, not just the quality of the movies. I'm not talking about Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, just a lot of fans. But I think the two signs of potential changing of the guard, maybe that's because of Mandalorian. I think the High Republic stuff that's what they're calling it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, the High Republic. I think that is a testing water as far as you talking about connected universe. One, they're already doing it a little bit. They're tipping they meant to do it with Solo, but I think they just went in too fast. They just they went for the Thanos reveal from Avengers, but it's like, no, you got to save that for like a few movies down the line. They shouldn't have led with Darth Maul. As cool as that was, they should have done it in a different way that wasn't so confusing for people. But they've dipped their toes there. If High Republic gets lots of praise and works, that's a big connected universe. Plus, it's something that's not just their new trilogy or the old, the dark times that they love. So that's one thing. And I think if Ahsoka, which it looks like all these rumors, no one's debunked it and said no, there's more rumors that keep coming out. If the rumors are true that Ahsoka is in Mandalorian too, which I'm saying it's going to be, you have that, and they also announced Obi-Wan, which is going to be it's the dark times, but it's an actor from the prequel era. I think with Cassian, that was like a let's make something for ourselves. Let's make something based on our movies. But after that, I think now if Ahsoka comes to Mandalorian Season 2 or 1, I think you got both with High Republic. them touching the connected universe, and they're going to start being like, you know what, people, there is an audience for this. That's the same thing. Maybe it's not the mass audience, but that's where you get the, if you have the prequelists that are just nothing about the prequels and they hate the new movies, well, then make a show for them on Disney Plus. That way, if you feel that, let's say you feel you make a movie about the prequels and the general audience would be turned off because they are not the big fan of the prequels or whatnot, or you don't think it's going to succeed, that's where you do Disney Plus, because make your movies then for the more mainstream, big, grandiose, like the trilogies, like the Rise of Skywalkers and stuff. But then make the hardcore stuff, like make a Revan show on Disney Plus, make the Ahsoka show on Disney Plus, because that's, you're gonna get those hardcore people. You know, you're gonna get the prequels. So I think they're starting to, whether that's Kathy, whoever it is, I think they are starting to like try out different scenarios, and I like it, because if this is the case, especially Crimson Dawn, like I don't know how exciting of the show that would be, but I'm interested to see if we can work Darth Maul, because I think Darth Maul obviously is just a cool character, but I think there's lots you could play with him. So I think there's a semi changing of the direction. What do you think about all that stuff I laid out?
Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points. Them kind of going along this new route or whatever. Like if we have our feet and our toes and all these different ponds, then we can kind of have something for ourselves. And at the end of the day, Star Wars, it's to me like I've always admired, Ubisoft in the sense where Assassin's Creed, one of my franchises I like, has always tried to have different things and different medias for everyone wherever you are. Whether you don't like the games, but you like comic books, you don't like the comic books, but you like, the mobile games, whatever
Yeah.
you want. And I feel like Star Wars is kind of trying to do that in the sense of, okay, like we have all these shows and they're all different stories. So if you don't like the Clone Wars, well, you can watch the Mandalorian. If you don't like the Mandalorian, well, you can watch the Obi-Wan series, all this different stuff. At the end of the day, they all still stack on top of each other like a foundation, and they
Yeah.
all can join together, which is good. And
And it's money
I
for
just think
them.
that it's all money for them. So it's just a matter of time before they start cementing things. And like we just got the dates of the shows right like the other day, so now we know like a kind of like a timeline of when things are going out. So obviously like we're getting Cassian in 2021, Obi-Wan after, and obviously like Mandalorian season 2 before that, and I'm assuming Mandalorian season 3 the same year as the Cassian series. On
Yeah.
top of that, the Marvel shows. So like they're not stopping. And even then, like there's been like the odd article where they pump out where like they've been ask questions about future Star Wars characters and shows, and all you see is like they're looking into like they have ideas and like their own projects. Like there was one article I was reading where they said like we have already a lot of Star Wars projects on the go for Disney Plus, kind of a thing. So like they have a lot of ideas. I hope that they keep doing more that are intertwined in the universe of Star Wars.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they're just, I think Disney Plus affords them the place to kind of experiment, because I feel like people are going to be having it, but I also just feel like people will even subscribe or get a free trial just to check out an episode and whatnot. So, yeah, I think they're in a good place. I'm hopeful what could happen. Yeah, it's been a bumpy road so far, but it's the same thing too. Like even with Ryan Johnson, it's like even then I know people, like there's lots of people that hate Last Jedi and don't want him near Star Wars, but it's kind of like you said, like make something for everyone. And the thing is, there's lots of people there's tons of people that love The Last Jedi, so it's like, but I've always been down to, I don't love The Last Jedi, but let him make that trilogy, let him make that movie, because who cares? The movie Last Jedi was $1 billion movie. It was very well reviewed, and yeah, it has passionate haters, but also has passionate lovers. So it's one of those things of just Star Wars fans. I think also have to learn that. Let's say if Ryan Johnson makes a movie, and if you don't like what he does, then just say, I'm not gonna watch this, or it's not for me, or I'll go watch it at home. Like that's all you got to do. So I kind of hope they embrace that, and I hope everybody kind of gets what they want. Do I think I think Darth Maul will be in a live action Star Wars before I think Ryan Johnson will direct a trilogy, but still, I want to happen. So I really hope they do all these ventures. Anything else on that topic? Because also we're going to talk a bit more about this actual episode.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it.
So I was gonna say I agree with you with the sisters. I think they were, I won't say redeemed, because they weren't like hurt totally and they weren't fixed totally, because I hate, like we talked about, I hate that sister jump and the spice. So I don't think they did anything enough to redeem it, but I don't think she really needed redeeming. The only other thing I didn't like in this episode, I wasn't a big fan of their little side quest of like, let me speak to your manager, which was weird, kind of meta moment when she was doing the like the Carol, like Karen, let me go speak to your manager, like mom haircut thing. And it was like, this is kind of weird. I don't think they meant it to be like that, but I wasn't a fan of that little adventure with what is that series called again that Bosk is?
Oh, Trandoshans.
Yeah, he was the manager, right?
Do you know who the little worker dudes were?
Well, he's well, I don't know if he's the exact one, but that race is a pod racer in Phantom Menace, right? He's the guy whose pod just
Yeah,
sucks.
they're the same. Yeah, the same
Yeah.
species as Ben Quadranero.
Yeah, Ben Quagenaro. Fuck, what a name. I'm gonna name my next child that. But I should have called Gwen that. Gwen Padronero. But yeah, so that's the only thing I didn't I thought was just kind of a bit more of the kiddie side, which I get it's kids show, but and then the other thing I will say is a positive, I did like that when they found out she was a Jedi. I actually liked the approach of doing the you are a Jedi, or the way we would like a Jedi to be. Because I thought we were going to get the trope of we trusted you and you didn't tell us this whole time. I liked that it was like, oh, you're a Jedi. That's great. We wish more of them were like you. So for the most part, I really liked what they did with the sisters.
Yeah, no, yeah, I like what they did with the sisters. That whole them going to this collect the spice from the Pikes, and then like they ended up getting to keep it, which is good. I'm assuming they got to keep it on their ship and it wasn't unloaded, but still, it was good. The one thing that threw me off was when the sister was fighting the Trandoshan on that platform, and she like kicked him. Did you recognize the sound that he made?
No, I just was surprised how powerful she is because he went far.
Did go far. He when she kicked him, and this is only it only clued in because I literally watched Jurassic Park the other day. But he made the identical like poo poo noise that the Velociraptors make, and he did the same hissing noise. I'm not even kidding. 100% it is. I would put I would bet my MacBook on it. I'm so confident that it's the same freaking noise. So it just blew my mind that they had it. And I know like before like the noise that the T-Rex makes in Jurassic Park is pretty like widespread. It's been used in like lots of other
Yeah.
forms of media, but like just the fact that this Trandoshan in Star Wars is fighting and it just pops off a Velociraptor sound effect from Jurassic Park just totally caught me off guard. Um, so check that out. It's actually quite hilarious.
I will the next time I watch. I'll look out for it. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to think what else oh, that was the other thing I want to talk about because you're right. I think with the Ahsoka show, that's why at first I was wondering if the Ahsoka show would be maybe in between here. Maybe she would be our protagonist against Crimson Dawn. I wonder if do you think there's even a way to do it as like set in both eras where half the show would be set in the past and half the show in the future, where like after Mandalorian and then the present be like, or like after Mandalorian and then the past be in between and about Crimson Dawn. The only reason was just because the sisters were, she did the whole like I'm gonna be back, blah blah. Like I'll leave my bike and maybe one day you'll see me. To me, if this was still another season of the show, I was like, okay, these characters will come back in a future season. But this is the end of the show, and I don't think these sisters are going to come back in any episodes leading up. So that's why I thought they were even setting up these sisters to be seen down again. So I don't know if I was reading too much into that, but that's what I took from that back and forth.
Yeah, I to me, I don't think that we're gonna get them back. I think this was just, this whole story arc, in my opinion, has been it's literally the whole season is one story arc. We're gonna get uh like obviously you look at the timeline of these events. We have like the Ahsoka stuff happening before Anakin leaves Coruscant to the Outer Rim sieges, and I think it's going to like how can I explain this? In the timeline episodes, the Bad Batch series happens after these four Ahsoka episodes, and then but they ordered it this way
Oh
so
my
that we can have a
god.
continued transition between Ahsoka leaving with the Mandalorians and Bo-Katan to the next story arc, which is going to incorporate the last two arcs that we've had. So I feel like this is just one whole conjoined arc in one season, and yeah, it's gonna get pretty intense. But the way they did it, they closed out the storyline of the two sisters in this miniature arc within this full story arc in itself. So I feel like they're gone, just like how they closed out the Bad Batch and Echo. They closed out the two sisters, and now they're taking these characters and they're gonna fulfill into one collective ending where you have the Mandalorians, you have Maul, and you have like Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, some crazy other stuff going on. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I still feel like definitely close it out, but they just to me left it open in a weird way. It was like I don't know if we'll see we could see these characters again, but who knows? I'm trying to think if there's. Let me look at my notes if I got anything else. The holograms being really far. Yeah, and I guess that's what I want to say. We talked about that them all, but I do hope in because we don't know if we're getting more series, blah blah blah. And I don't think Ian McDermott would come back for a live action one, even though I'd love it. I do want an answer of how Maul escaped, like here at least. But I would really like an answer from him. I less so need the answer of how he escaped because okay, fine, maybe somebody you're just help your crime people, fine. I do want someone to be talking to Maul and Maul to explain if he had an idea or why the Emperor said he was going to keep him alive. Because I just feel like in the canon, I never, as of right now, when that episode happened, I loved it, but I didn't buy why would he keep him alive, and we hadn't seen anything why he would keep Maul alive. So I really want
Oh,
that answered as far
oh,
as what.
um, holy crap. I think, okay, I found the source that I was telling you about, and oh my god, I even have it. Holy shit. Okay, so I actually have the comic book for it. I didn't even realize that I actually owned it,
Wow.
but it basically covers and dives into the fact that so Maul is imprisoned, and after he's captured by Palpatine and imprisoned, he's put on a planet called Stygian Prime. Sidious and Count Dooku allow Maul to escape, and they hope that he would lead them to Mother Talzin so that they could destroy Mother Talzin. So that was their plan for him.
See, that's great, but I wish I would get that in the show just because I feel like if I don't have you or the comic show, like or that comic book, I would never get an answer to that cliffhanger in an episode. Just like I have plans for you. Just I don't. Then it's just like, what did you have planned? Now he's just here. So that's kind of a negative for me, a critique. So I hope we get some lines in the show while Maul's back. So if not, that'd be a con for me. But yeah, I think that's all the notes I have for this episode. Taylor, you got anything else specifically to say?
Um, God, I'm just trying to think. I love seeing the Mandalorians, make their appearance. I love how they just showed up at the end of the episode. I liked how Ahsoka revealed that she was a Jedi, and she's just kind of like, I like that whole dynamic she had with the Pikes and how they were just like, "Oh, you're a Jedi working for the Republic, aren't you?" And just that whole kind of thing. And yeah, it was fun just to get into this world. And then that like Han Solo score that just kind of kicked in
Yeah.
when they were being tailed by those guys. Like I love that kind of thing. And I was happy to see that she was actually a pretty capable pilot in this sense too. So that was good.
And
It
yeah,
felt like a longer episode than the rest, which made me happy.
yeah, I think it was. It was like 25 minutes or something. And that's we didn't talk about, but we kind of knew last week that was confirmed as Bo Katan. Obviously, she took the helmet off. It spoiled in the subtitles for me. Like the whole episode showed her, but right before she took her helmet off, it was like Bo Katan says. I was like, oh, wow. It's great. Good job, subtitles. But yeah, we kind of knew that. And it's good to see that character back after so long. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm guessing this is a before this is the way kind of thing where helmets come
yeah.
off. So
Yeah, for me, like I said, I thought it was a really enjoyable episode. Almost like not a perfect episode, nothing's perfect, but almost that two thumb upper. That's why I said I'm giving it the thumb and like the 75, just because one, like I said, there was a aspect where there was a lot of action in this episode, but it was like escaping. And like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the sister's little side quests for for that little scene there, as far as the manager, and I just thought it was like a little hokey. I thought the rest of the episode was really serious, and that felt very comedic to me. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. So yeah, I'm giving it a thumb and 75 percent cocked the other thumb.
I'm gonna give it a probably a good thumb and a half, I'd
Thumb and
say.
a half. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Taylor, where can they find us for the rest of the episodes?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us in the search bar, Geek for Space Podcast, your internet connection, lots and lots of good stuff. Specifically, go check out. We have a lot of Roddernaut content that has just popped off right now. So, if you are on Patreon, you get early access to our special 3-year anniversary episode, which is the original 2-year episode or second episode that me and Ruben filmed 3 years ago, back to back with the first episode, which never came to be. Uh, but it's fun. It's not like a superbly edited one, but it's fun. The games we play are pretty cool. A little bit of Power Rangers in there and stuff. But yeah, then if you don't have us on Patreon, there's still Runnernaut content for you. We have a brand new episode that you can check out, so make sure you go check that out. It's super fun. That's oh yeah, the Clone Wars poll definitely every day 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check out our Facebook and hop on there so you can submit your vote for the poll. I believe today it's going to transition to Satine of Mandalore, Duchess Satine actually, pitted against Plo Koon, so it should be pretty spicy.
Oh boy, there you go. I imagine Duchess should win, right?
I don't know. There's been a few picks that I've been wrong on, so I don't know how these fans are
Yeah, I bet you
operating.
Plo Koon's gonna win. He's a Jedi. He's pop. He's like in the show or in the movies, so we'll see. Oh boy. So yeah, like to said, head with Patreon and get that raw enough stuff, or you get a bunch of stuff. You get these episodes early or ad free. You can get special episodes right now. We have our Howard the Duck retro and Catwoman retro up there, and at any tier right now, you can select a movie for us to watch because obviously tons of movies are getting delayed. So in the next few weeks, we got Snowpiercer. I'm gonna watch a Dragon Ball Z movie for the first time in my life. So that's where you can go and recommend a movie for us, and we will review that live on the cast. Or you go to the $5 tier and get the commentary tracks exclusive. Right now we have Mortal Kombat and what was the first one? Did Suicide Squad up there. Next month we'll be dropping a Spider-Man. That one's probably I think my favorite one that we've done so far. So lots of good content. Just go down to the description below to find all the audio and video feeds. Please rate, review, and subscribe. That would help us out big time. That what would really help us out is leaving us a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us grow the channel. That's it. If you can't support us any other way, all it takes is 30 seconds. We'd really appreciate that because we can really like do some damage that way. And we're trying to get to 200. That's our goal. So we'd really appreciate that. So until next week, may the force be with you.
Always.